I guess theoretically, you know, we can just pause the video and then just, you know, go into the next one. Okay?
Okay. We're all set.
Okay. In addition to chemical waste, we have other types of waste that we have to deal with in the laboratory, and it does have to be segregated. Other garbage waste includes paper waste, and the paper waste in this lab goes into the large gray bins. Now those you will find throughout the laboratory. Please, no rubber gloves or broken glass is permitted. If you put rubber gloves into that waste, it automatically becomes chemical waste, and we can't give it to the city. And so the cost becomes enormous. Okay, as long as it's paper, we can give it to the city. Broken glass and rubber gloves go into a number of bins that you will find distributed around the lab, okay, labeled for broken glass and rubber gloves. I want to mention our computers. You see, we use computers in the laboratory, and along with the computers are a computer interface, which is called the Lab Pro, and various probes. Okay, this equipment is used in 5 or 6 of our experiments and will be dispensed from the stockroom. Okay, now you are required to exchange your ID card for this equipment, and so make sure that you bring your ID card to lab. Now, I want to point out a couple of things about these probes. This probe is called a stainless steel temperature probe. It's used to measure temperature naturally, and it's made out of stainless steel. Very, very durable. You need a sledgehammer to break it, okay? You plug it into the interface, and I will be showing you a demo of how the equipment works, but that's not my point here. Now this is another probe that we use, and this is called a pH probe, and it's quite different from the temperature probe. The pH probe, you can see there is a glass bead that's surrounded by 4 plastic feet. Okay, that glass bead can break. It has a filament in it that, and the glass bead itself is porous, and when we put it into a solution, it permits us to measure the pH, which is a measure of the acidity or basicity of a solution. Now, it may be convenient for you to use this pH probe as a stirring rod. I encourage you not to do that, because this pH probe will cost you $100 if you break it. Okay? So I'll remind you about that, but I just wanted to mention it now, and hopefully you'll remember. Now, there are a number of assignments that you're going to have, and you're going to have to do it. And to a great extent, you're going to have to do this on your own. And so it's very important that you get into the lab manual and the website as soon as possible. The first week assignments, which are due at your next laboratory period, includes Experiment 1, Safety. All students have to complete the lab safety test. Now, this is to be completed online. Read the material in the lab manual to prepare in Chapter 1. Now, there are 25 questions, and you are permitted to repeat this as many times as you like until you get 100. I want to give you a good head start in this laboratory.
Okay, so everybody should get 100 on this test. You can do it as many times as you like. You must complete it up to 2 hours before your next lab period. Okay, after that, if you haven't done it, you will get a 0. Now, experiment 2 is on the subject of density. I want you to read the syllabus, as I have said, which goes into detail about how to prepare for experiments. However, doing the density lab is going to give you a good sense about what you have to do. First, you want to read the background material in the manual, including any sample calculations. At the website, you will find there is a PowerPoint presentation, rather short for the density lab, but it may give you some support there, okay? So I encourage you to look at that. Now you have to do a pre-lab assignment and a timed online quiz. For each laboratory experiment, except a couple, the take-home experiments and so on, this is all covered in the syllabus, you will see that there is a drag and drop reinforcement exercise where you can prepare yourself. And you can do this as many times as you like. You can prepare yourself for doing the experiment, okay? Doing the pre-lab or taking the quiz. Now, the pre-lab assignment for density involves a number of things. You're going to have to do calculations, calculate density. You're going to have to calculate mean. Most of you should know what that means. That's the average. And you're going to have to calculate the standard deviation in a certain number of these problems. Please pay attention to the proper number of significant figures and units. See Appendix 1 in your manual. Okay, in the back of the manual, it deals with the rules on significant figures, and you'll notice that that's written by John Halpin, so that we are consistent with the lecture course. The equation for standard deviation is presented in Appendix 1. Question 4 in the pre-lab uses Logger Pro. Now, Logger Pro is a software that you can download at no cost from the Blackboard site. Okay, whether it's Macintosh or PC, independent of what you use, please download that software. And the point here is this is a very powerful software that you can use in any course that you like to generate graphs and once again, I'm going to illustrate how to do this in a future lecture. But at this point, I want you to familiarize yourself with Logger Pro. Okay, and you'll have to do. You're going to have to plot a graph. You're going to have to name the graph, and you can do this. I want you to tinker around with the software and do the best you can. If anybody has any problems with this, you can come to me and I will try to show you how to solve your problems. You're going to generate a graph, and you're going to do an interpolation and an extrapolation. And then I'm asking you to print out these graphs. Okay, so it does require you to spend some time with the software. Once again, you will find in each experiment a post-lab exercise, okay? Now, in the density experiment, it is possible for you to do the post-lab exercise before you come to lab. That isn't always possible. You may need the data from the experiment to complete that post-lab exercise. Now,
The first problem in the post-lab exercise is an Archimedes principle problem, which is meant to be challenging. Okay? I want you to figure out how to do this problem. Okay? So you can work with your friends, somebody else in the class, you can Google it. I don't care how you do it. What I do care is that when you write the answer to hand in, that it's your work and your calculation. If you copy from somebody else, that is cheating. And if you cheat, you will get a 0 for the entire lab. So just don't do it. I'm done.
Okay.